So the Mishnah begins, from what time can one begin reciting Shema in the evening? The answer is, when the Kainim enter to eat the Shumas. This is sort of like a code that's not really saying the exact time. It's just saying, if you know what that time is, then you'll know what time. We're going to learn in the Gemara that it's Tzeisak Start. Then it continues. It says, until the end of the
Benny, please mute your phone.
We'll learn in the Gemara that the night is divided into 3 watches. So you have 12 hours of the night.
It's Rabbi Smith. Sure.
So
he's giving it in.
But
it's also a little more beginner's chart.
Divrei Rabbi Eliezer.
Not the classic one, but
This is
that's
the
why
words of Rabbi Eliezer. Who's Rabbi Eliezer?
nothing to do with.
So on our chart here we have.
As long as you're learning, right?
That's down here.
Can you please mute your phone?
And Rabbi Eliezer is Rabbi Eliezer. Today we're going to talk about Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkenes. Later we're going to have Rabbi Yeshua. That's on the same level. We're also going to have, under Rabbi Akiva, we'll have Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Meir. I think that's about all. We'll have a Rabbi Chanina as well, but it's not over here. It's a different one. Okay. So Rabbi Eliezer is the one that says that you have 4 hours to say Shema. Chachamim say that you have until midnight. Rabbi Gamliel says that you have until daybreak. Maisa, there was a story that the sons of Rabbi Gamliel came. There was a wedding. Beis Hamikdash is probably a wedding. And they came in the morning. They said to him, like, Rina Shema, we didn't say the Shema yet. So Amalahem. Rabbi Gamliel says to his sons, if it's not daybreak, you can still recite Shema. It means like this. You come to the Shir, and you realize I didn't daven Meir, I didn't say Shema. It's possible you can still say Shema. Depends on what the time of the year it is. But not only this, Amru, have they said, whatever the sages have said is until midnight. Really, you have until dawn, you have until daybreak. We give some examples for that. The burning of the limbs started with the Zvachim, that the limbs of the sacrifices, the fats of all sacrifices, the limbs of the Oila sacrifices that are burnt during the night, those, they weren't burned by day, they're burned by night. Those, you really have until Amud HaShachar, until the dawn. Anything that's eaten for one day, that means a sacrifice is brought, and you slaughter the sacrifice during the day. You have the rest of the day to eat it, and you also have that night to eat it. How much of the night do you have? So it's Ad Sheyala Amud HaShachar, until the dawn, until it rises the pillar of, I guess, darkness, which means until the light comes up. Im Kain, if so, so why have the sages said until midnight? The distance a person from sin. Okay. So, do we have 3 opinions here or 2 opinions here? Rabbi Eliezer says that you can recite the Shema for 4 hours of the night. The Chachamim say you have until midnight. Rabbi Gamliel says you have until dawn. And then he adds in, he says, really, when the sages said that you have until midnight, they also mean that you have until dawn. It's just they want to distance you from Avera. So Rabbi Gamliel, it's interesting that Rabbi Gamliel, it's a little bit vague if he's defining the Chachamim. But he's saying that he holds the same as the Chachamim. Do the Chachamim really hold the same as him? That's what's not clear. Rashi on the next page is going to tell us his 3 opinions. So let's leave it at this 3 opinions. Okay. We introduced this, the first section of this Mishnah was from when we said that you can recite the Shema from when the Kohanim entered to eat their Truma. which we said is Tesa Kechavim. Rashi here is bothered by what we find practically. He says, why is it that people go to Shul and they daven Ma'ariv and they recite the Shema before nightfall? What people do today, a lot of shuls, not in Chabad shuls, but in other shuls, they daven right away Ma'ariv, they daven early. And the reason for that is because it's hard for people to get out later, especially in the olden days. The sundown, that's the end of the day. You don't go. Why should someone go out at night? There's no light. So you would daven Ma'ariv early, and that question bothers Rashi. He says, so how do we fit this with the Mishnah? What we're doing doesn't fit with the Mishnah. So Rashi responds that you're not Yaitse when Shul. You're Yaitse with Kriya Shema Shalamita, that you say it later on. Taisvus, after we finish the our quota for today, go over Taisvus. But Taisvus argues on Rashi is not satisfied with that. And I'll try to go through it if we have time at the end. The reason why I'm postponing is because there's some shittas here that we need to say before we can do that. Okay, Tana Hechakai, the Gemara begins. Tana Hechakai, the Tana, where is he referring to? Where is he standing? The Tani Meimasai, that he says from when? No, it's starting with the question. This question is, from when do we recite Shema? You didn't say yet that you have to say Shema. Where are you coming from? Well, like, what was the last thing that you're discussing that now you're saying from when? So Vasu, another question. Maishna the Tani Ba'ar V'Spiration. Listening to Shachar Spiration. Why are you starting with the evening? Why don't you start with the morning? We're going to get two answers there. Tana Akrakai. The Tana is referring to a pasuk. And the pasuk says when you lie down and when you get up. Aha. When you lie down and when you get up. So it says that you have to recite the Shema when you lie down and when you get up. So what does it say first? When you lie down. So it starts with the night. When is the time of Kriya Shema when you're lying down? It's from the time that the Kayanim entered to eat their Truma. This was referring to Kayanim that are Tameh, that have gone to the mikveh, that need to wait for nightfall to be totally pure. The Bayasema, we give another answer if you want to say. Yalef and Brachos Daf, we can learn from the creation of the world. That says there was evening, there was morning one day. Starts with evening. So there's no question why it starts with evening. That's how the creation of the world was. The only problem is that the first answer told me that Kriya Shema, we're going to start with evening. Second answer tells me we always start with evening. So once you do that, we always start, now we're going to have some problems. What do you mean we always start? If that's what you always do, Seifa Diktani, if you look further in the Mishnayos over here, at the end of the later Mishnah, it says, B'shachar mevarich shtayim, in the morning, you say two brachos, lefanel, before the Shema. Two brachos before the Shema. Someone sitting there? Someone sitting over there? Two, we say one bracha after the Shema. The two brachos before is Yetzer V'Cheshach. How does it finish off? Yetzer Maris. The second one is Habecha Bar Yisrael Avasaylam. And the one afterwards is Gol Yisrael. That's what we do in the morning. But Erev, in the evening, Levarich Shtayim Lefanah, Hamarav Haravim, and Avasaylam. Oyevam Yisrael. B'shtayim Lachre, and two brachas afterwards. Over there you say Gol Yisrael and then Hashkivenu. The Gemara's question is, listening to Arvis Bereisha, according to your second answer, that you said that you always do everything starting with the night. So why does that Mishnah start with the morning? I'm learning this according to it says the Gemara answers Tana Pasach Ba'arvis v'Hadu Tani B'Shachar. We start with the evening, Kriya Shema, Meimasai Karna Shema, and then we went to Shema in the morning. Now Ad Koi B'Shachris, once we're dealing with the morning, so Parshmil B'Shachris, we had then finished everything off. V'Hadu Parshmil Darvis, and then we went back. So it's sort of like evening, morning, and then evening. But why did we do that? Because we're already involved in that, and Okay. What's going to be explained is that we quoted the pasuk Shach b'chav kamecha, when you lay down. Now, there's going to be a discussion. What does when you lay down mean? Does it mean while you're sleeping, which would be Ram Gamliel's opinion, that you have the whole night to recite the Shema? Because people lay down, they sleep the whole night. So b'shach b'chav. Or it doesn't mean when you lay down, not the whole time, just when you're going to bed. What does b'shach b'chav mean? Time of going to bed or the time that you're sleeping? So if it's the time you're going to bed, then you have these other earlier opinions that limit you. Okay. Amar Mar. Master taught. That's a way of reintroducing something that was taught by a Mishnah or Brisa. When we started the Daf Yomi, so we were wondering what's Amar Mar and what's Gufa. Those are two terms that reintroduce. So we said that Amar Mar, Amar Mar is when it's introducing a Mishnah or Brisa, reintroducing, and Gufa is from Amirayim. So we saw this pattern, and it was pretty much correct, except for once that it was off. But there we're starting Shas and following. Make any patterns that you want to, anything that you want to look for, how many times it says Rabbi Eliezer, whatever you want, you start from now. We learned in the Mishnah from the time that the Kainim entered to eat their Truma, Michti. Let's see. And now, literally, now that. Kainim emas ka'achli Truma. When do the Kainim eat the Truma? Mishas teisek kechavim. It's from when the stars come out. Smaller stars, medium-sized stars. Listening Mishas teisek kechavim. Why doesn't it say teisek kechavim? Why doesn't it say clear exactly the time? Where it says, Milsa gavorcha kamashma. It's coming to teach you a secondary halacha. Kainim emas ka'achli b'truma. When do the Kayanim eat the Truma? Just Tzesek Kechavim. They can eat the Truma from Tzesek Kechavim. So we get in an extra teaching over here. Not only the time for Shema, but also teaches us when the Kayanim can eat the Truma. Well, Kamash Malan is coming to teach us the Kapara Le'Ma'akvas. Kapara means the Karbanas. That if a person is Tameh, let's say it was a Zav, something we're learning about in Snida, that he has to wait 7 days, and then he goes to the mikveh, and then to wait till he brings his kabbanis to eat the truma. He goes to the mikveh. That night he can already eat the truma, and the following day he brings his kabbanis as well. Very nice. I would have worn my other kapata. Okay. The chiddush over here is the hakamashman, the kapara makva, that the kabbanis aren't ma'akiv, don't hold you back from eating the truma. Kiddetanya was starting a brisa. Uva shemesh vitar. This is in those psukim over there that in Parshas Emor that speak about the laws of the Kayanim. It says Uva shemesh. Literally, let's assume it means the sun comes. No, what does it mean? The sun comes. Let's say it means the sun sets. V'taher, and it's purified. Now there's a pronoun in there, and it's purified. We're going to discuss that. So, it's the sun setting that withholds him from eating the truma. But his kapara, which means the carbon, doesn't hold him back from eating the truma. He can already eat the truma from the sun setting, and not he doesn't have to wait for the following day. When we say the sun setting, we mean the sun fully setting. Which that's tastes like a because the sun sets and there still is light. But when the sun sets further, then it gets dark enough that we see the stars. And now the Gemara asks, so far, where are we holding here? We were just saying a proof that the Kayanim don't need to wait for their kapara, for the karbanas to eat the truma. They can already eat the truma in the evening. And the fact that the Mishnah tells us after Teisek Chavim. No, the Yashimshay we're learning now means Teisek Chavim. Is that right? Okay. It means a complete Yashimshay, a complete setting. I'm trying to avoid a confusion between Rashi and Taisvis. I'll get back to that in a moment. Let's say it means Biashimshay means that it's the complete setting. Okay, now the Gemara asks, how do you know that the sun setting means the sun setting? Vitar, and when it says it's purified, means tar yaima, that the day is purified. That would mean that the air clears and the stars emerge, which is like just a passive term. Shemesh vitar, that the day is purified, like cleansed, like totally finished, and the sun comes out. Dilma, maybe the way you wanted to learn it was that Ava Shemesh would mean beginning of sunset. Vitar means the end of sunset, which would mean, and that would make sense as well according to Rashi. Dilma Biyasai, right? Maybe when it says Ava Shemesh, the sun comes, and we're on top of base 2b. When the sun comes, it means the rising of the sun. On the 8th day, on the following day, after he's already gone to the mikveh, there was nightfall. The sun rises the following day. And the my vitar, and what does it mean? And it is purified. Tor Gavra, the man is purified. Why? How is he purified? Because he goes and he brings his karbanas. He went to the mikveh on the 7th. On the 8th day, he would bring his karbanas. We're trying to say that the kohen can eat his truma by nightfall because it says the sun comes and it's purified. We said that the sun comes and it's purified means that the sun sets and the day is purified, and the person can the kohen can eat his truma. He doesn't have to bring his karbanas. Maybe the sun coming means the sun rising, and it is purified means that he has to go and do an action and bring his karbanas. Maybe that's what the pasuk is referring to.
Excuse
The taher, the deinu, to purify.
Once he's told, then he can do the avodah.
The question is that now the taher, is it an action, or is the taher passive?
Oh no, you have no right to give it out. Only you.
We can't just bypass these words of wisdom.
I'm a Rabbi Bar Shila. Rabbi Bar Shila says,
It was plagiarism.
Im kain lemakra the yitar. If so, let the pasuk say, and he will purify him, and he will become purified. The yitar, and he will become purified, or he will make himself purified. What does it mean, my v'taher? What does it mean, and it is purified? Those that prefix yud before a word in Hebrew means he. So if it's talking about the person will purify himself, then let it say, and he will purify himself. What is it? If it says v'taher, it's a passive, and it's purified. That must be referring to just that the day sunset and the day is purified. Means that the day is over. My v'taher. So what does it mean? Just v'tar in a passive form. Tar yaima, the day is purified. Kedamri Yinshi, as people say, Yarav Shimsha, the sun sets, Vit Ki yaima, and the day is purified. People say that the day is finished. Okay. We learned this according to Rashi, where the pasuk is referring to sunset. And the Gemara asks, maybe it's referring to sunrise. And the response was that if it's referring to sunrise, then the tahir is going to need to be the yitar. It's going to be an active instead of a passive. Taisvis in Dilma Biyasai, right, says that we never had a question that maybe it's referring to sunrise. Our whole question is maybe it's referring to the beginning of Shkia. Who says that it's Seisach Yechavim? Maybe it's the beginning of Shkia. And it answers that, and the question is it referring to the person being purified or the day being purified? So if it's referring to the person being purified automatically, then if the person is purified, then it should say the person, the yitar. It's not an active or passive. It's a person versus day. The yitar. Let the person, and the person is purified. But then it says that because it says vitar, it must be referring to the day. and which means that it's Tzeisek Yechavim and not the beginning of Shkia. Okay, b'Marava in Eretz Yisrael, had the Rabba bar Rav Shila leishmielu. Rabba bar Rav Shila, they didn't hear this. They didn't hear what Rabba bar Rav Shila explained. And they asked it as a question on their own. Marav in the West is referring to Eretz Yisrael because in Babylonia, where the Gemara was written, it's to the east of Israel. So they speak about Israel as the West. This, when it says the sun is coming, it's referring to the sun setting. My vitar, and what does it mean? Purified. Tar Yoma, the day is purified. That means the air is cleaned and the stars emerge. Maybe it means the rising of the sun. My vitar, what does it mean? It's purified. Tar Gavra, the person goes and brings his karbanas. The Pashtalemi Brisa. And then they answer it from a Brisa. Because the Brisa says, Siman l'davar tzeisak yechavim. A siman for when is the time that you're able to do this. It's tzeisak yechavim. The three stars, the stars emerge. We see that obviously it's referring to the sun setting, not the sun rising. What does it mean purified? The day is purified. They are asking.
Brought it as a proof. Obviously, the Bryce knows already. And if I'm just.
How can they bring a proof to a Brisa from just shot in the pasuk? That's what he asked. No, I don't know. It's a good question. Any comment? No. Yeah. I'm going to need it in a minute, though.
What was the question?
The question is, you see, before, the way we responded was, we reread the pasuk in a way that it has to mean this. We read the pasuk, proving from the pasuk what it has to mean. Now we're asking, what does the pasuk mean? And we answer it from a brisa. It's not a proof. It's not from the diktuk in the pasuk that's proving it. It's from a later source that's telling me. Okay. Amar Mar, the master taught. That was the master said. We're going back again to the Mishnah. From the time that the Kayanim eat their Shema, that's when you can recite the Shema, the earliest time for Shema. For a minute, we'll ask a contradiction. That means we're asking a contradiction from another Tanaic source, which is usually a Brisa or a Mishnah, a Brisa. Or Baravin. From when can you recite the Shema in the evening? From when the poor man comes in to eat his bread with salt, until he stands up to leave from the meal. Same question, when do we recite the Shema? And our answer is from when the poor man comes in to eat till he leaves. It's a very small amount of time. We didn't see such a small amount of time before in the Mishnah. And also the starting point seems to be different. So we're asking this as a contradiction. In the Mishnah, we gave only one opinion. When the Kayanim come in, which you said is Tzeisak Yechavim. Here we're saying when the poor man eats. Now, it's assumed that the poor man, we start off thinking that the poor man really doesn't want to use candles. Maybe doesn't even have candles. He's going to want to do all his eating by day. When he comes in to eat, it's probably at an earlier time when it's not so dark. And the Mishnah says, no, it's already Tzeisak Yechavim. So the Gemara goes like this. Seifa vadei pligi amasnis. And there's no question that the end of the Mishnah is arguing, the end of the Brisa is definitely arguing on our Mishnah. The end time. We had three opinions. The end of the first watch, which was 4 hours, chatzos, or daybreak. That's the end time for reciting the Shema. Here you have when he stands up from his meal. That's for sure arguing on our Mishnah. Reisha milema pligi amasnisin. What about the ratio? The poor man relative to the Kayan. It's going to get a little slightly complicated. So yeah, I have the Kayan. And let's use this. Let's use this. This is our poor man. Here's our Kayan. The Kayan, when he comes into the Shuma, we said it, you see. Kayan is Tzeisak Yechavim. And the poor man eats his bread. The poor man eats his bread. So we're thinking now that the Kayan is later in the day. It's by nightfall, and this is earlier. Should we say that there's a difference in time of when the earliest time to recite the Shema is? Umar says, Loi, ani v'kayin chad shiura, it's actually the same time. The poor man comes in, he actually eats his bread at the same time that the Kayan is able to eat his truma. We'll see later as we get through. There's a whole bunch of opinions. We'll see like how it's going to fit with that.
It's the same time. Why do you need a second?
Yeah. What we're saying is that they're actually referring to the same time. They just each one gave his own measurement for what that time is. But on the clock, it's the same time. Now the Gemara says, okay, so we've just established that these are at the same level. The Kayan and the Ani are at the same time. We're going to go through two times. The Gemara is going to try to reject this twice. In each one, it's rather a long question. And it quotes this Brisa with the purpose of rejecting this answer that the Kayan and the poor man are at the same time. Then we're going to do it again. Okay. There's a contradiction. When is the beginning time to recite the Shema in the evening? We'll use this guy for Bnei Adam. When people come in to eat their meal, when people come in to eat their meal on Friday night. Now, on Friday night, everything is prepared already. So when they enter to eat their meal, it could be that it could be at an earlier time. They don't have to come home and start preparing it. They already came home earlier. So it could be slightly earlier. Other times people would come home, they have to start preparing. That could take longer. Dibur Rab Meir. Chachamim Maimrim, the sages say, Mishash HaKayanim Zakayan Lechel B'Trumasam. The Chachamim say, at the time when the Kayanim are able to eat their truma. Similar davar tzeisa kechavim. Could be. Yes, he's asking if are able to eat the truma, or if they come in to eat the truma, if it's the same thing. I learned that it was the same thing.
No, because the way you said it.
Okay. Siman l'davar tzeisa kechavim. A siman for this is tzeisa kechavim. See, it's the three stars come out. Even though there's no proof that the day ends at tzeisa kechavim, there's a discussion of what's considered day. Is day from sunrise to sunset, or is day from dawn to the three stars? If you look at a Kriya Shema chart, and you have the two times there, the time for Kriya Shema is 1/4 of the day. The question is, when does the day begin? And so what you're looking at is a machlokes. You start from dawn, and you have 3 hours, 1/4 of the day. And you start from sunrise, and you have 3 hours. That's why you see different times on the chart. So, but here the Gemara is saying, we're going to prove to you that the day ends at the three stars. Shenemar, even though there's no proof, but there is a allusion to it. Zeichel Adavar, there is an allusion to it. Shenemar, as it says, that we were doing the work, and half of us were holding spears. From dawn until three stars. This is when they were allowed to rebuild the second Beis Hamikdash. There were other people that were trying to break down everything that they were building. They have to build, and at the same time, they had to build, and at the same time, they had to protect from people. So they were holding spears, and they were doing work from the morning until evening. It also says, by evening was a watch, was a guard that was on guard. By day they were doing work. Okay, so what we saw here was that they were doing work from dawn until three stars. And then we quoted a pasuk that says that by day we did work. So the Gemara says, why are you bringing another pasuk? Maybe you can say that really the beginning of the sunset is really the night.
It says in Pirkei Avos there are 10 things that appear between sunset and twilight.
In the three stars, by twilight. Nothing's created at twilight. Is that what it says? Yeah.
I think, I mean,
Right. So there has to be a time over there. So yeah, that actually we're going to discuss at the end of about twilight, when exactly twilight is. But now there's a possibility that maybe the fact that the people were doing work from dawn till 3 stars doesn't mean that that's the day. Maybe they were coming earlier and they were staying later. It doesn't tell you to come at the end of the day. So Tashema, that's why come and listen. That's what Pasuk says, Vayilanu alayla mishmar vayayim malacha. No, we worked by day. It means it wasn't that we were coming early and staying late. That is the day from dawn until 3 stars. Okay. So going back to what our point is, do we say that the Kayan and the foreman is the same time? So we quoted 2 opinions here. One opinion was, what's the earliest time for Shema? Was when people eat their bread on Friday night. And the other opinion was, that was Reb Meir's opinion. Another opinion, the Chachamim say, when the Kayanim eat their Truma. So right now we're thinking, whatever the case is, the people and the poor man, okay, are the same time. Now, we had a machlekes between the people. Is it the time that the people eat their bread, or is it the kayanim? Now, I have to move this away from the kayan somewhere because, or else then it's not a machlekes. Like I quoted 2 opinions in this price. One says when the people eat the bread. So before we said that the poor man and the kayan is the same time. Now we say that there's a machlekes between when the people eat on Friday night and is it when the kayanim eat their truma. So I got to move the kayan away from the people. But I'm assuming that the people and the poor man is the same time. So now I have to move it away as well. So now I lose that answer that we gave before. Because before we quoted a brisa that says when the poor man eats his bread, that's the same time as the kayan. But now if people and the poor man is the same time, it can't be the same. It can't be the same as the kayan because we have machlekes.
why do you see people with women at the same time?
That's our first thought. Okay. It says, B'nai Adam, we think that people are average people, only a small percent that are wealthy. So, okay. Kasal Kadaitach, it enters our mind to say, the Ani Ubnei Adam Chad Shiru, that the way this could be learned is that whether the poor man and people is the same person or not, could be not. Could be the poor man and the people are actually different. But the poor man, the time of the poor man and the people is the same time. Why? Because the poor man has nothing to prepare. And the people are already prepared. So they both come in and it's the same time. It doesn't have to be it's the same person. It could be that how is it the same time? Because the poor man has nothing to prepare. And the people were Ba'arvi Shabbosis. The poor man was on a regular night, and the people were Ba'arvi Shabbosis, they're already prepared. So that could be the same time. But if you say that the poor man and the kain is the same time, so then Chachamim Hainu Reb Meir, the sages is the same as Reb Meir, then there was no machlekes in that brisa. So Elish Mamina, Ani Shir Lechud, the kain Shir Lechud, we have to separate them. We're still keeping these together. The Ani and the poor man are together, but the kain is a different time. Okay. Shmamina, Ani Shir Lechud, the kain Shir Lechud. The Gemara says, like, you don't have to do that. You could say Ani v'kayin chad shiuru. You can put the Ani and the kayin together. And Ani b'nei adam lav chad shiuru. But the poor man and the other people are not the same time. And then that would resolve that. But basically what we just did was Ani b'nei adam lav chad shiuru is we now have a machlekes between the Chachamim and Reb Meir. This is Reb Meir's opinion. This is the Chachamim's opinion. And that first brisa is not a contradiction to the Mishnah. It's not arguing on the Mishnah because the poor man and the kain is the same. It worked out well. The Gemara challenges this one more time. It says, "Vani v'kayin chad shiuru." the ani and the kayan, the poor man and the kayan, is the same time. Raminu, but I'll ask you a contradiction. Name a time and when's the beginning time to recite the Shema in the evening? From the time that it becomes Shabbos, an Erev Shabbos, twilight, in the beginning, before twilight, before there's any doubt, that's when we have to accept Shabbos. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. See Rabbi Eliezer's opinion? Yeah, this is the second time we're quoting Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer says that the earliest time for Shema is from twilight. Rabbi Yeshua Aimer, Bein Hashmashos. Rabbi Yeshua Aimer, Rabbi Yeshua says, Mishasha kayanim tuharim lechal b'trumasan. At the time that the kayanim are tar to eat their truma. This is Tzesek Chavim as well, even though it doesn't sound the same. It's Tzesek Chavim.
So something doesn't sound right. I mean, we don't start Shabbos at Bein Hashmashos. We start Shabbos by Shkia.
No, we do Shabbos. We do start Shabbos by Bein Hashmashos.
This is the big machlekes. When is Bein Hashmashos? So
I thought Bein Hashmashos is after Shkia.
You say Erev Shabbos, we say Erev Shabbos.
The reason why
you don't say Shabbos.
The reason why we're starting Shabbos before the 3 stars is because there's a period of time before that where it's a doubt. So we're always machmer. That's the Bein Hashmashos. So we go, and there's different opinions when Bein Hashmashos is.
I thought Bein
We start
Hashmashos
from
was
here.
between Shkia.
The same
and
Erev
then,
Shabbos, Bein Hashmashos. Like a contradiction.
No, it means the Friday afternoon at Bein Hashmashos time. Erev Shabbos.
So is it Shabbos or not? Just like
That's the time that we accept Shabbos. So
After the 3 stars for sure.
yeah. So Mishash Shakainim Mitarim Lechel B'Trumas, and this is a second opinion here. This is Rabbi Yeshua. I'm gonna need to. Let's use this one. This is at the time. Let's use this for Shabbos. This would be the earliest one.
You need more?
Well, this one will be. We'll use this for another one. We have. So far we have Shabbos. That's Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Rabbi Yeshua's opinion is the kayanim mituharim. I have my kayan already. So far we're good. Reb Meir Mishasha kayanim toivlim lechal b'trumasan. Not at the time that they're eligible to eat. At the time that they go to the mikveh. I don't have that. I don't have a prop for the time that they go to the mikveh.
Use the other one.
Okay, here's our mikveh. Here's our mikveh. This has got to be earlier because they're going to go to the mikveh before nightfall. Amalai Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says to Rabbi Meir, the kainim go to the mikveh during the day. We don't have the response here. The Gemara is going to discuss how we respond. And how can you recite? Rabbi Yehuda is saying, how can you recite the Shema during the day? When you lay down, they're going to the mikveh in middle of the day. Before nightfall, then that's not b'shach b'cha. Rabbi Chanina mishasha ani nechnas lechel pitei b'melach. We had our poor man before. This is the cup. This is our poor man. When the poor man comes in to eat his bread with salt. Rabbi Chai v'amala Rabbi Chaim mishasha roiv bnei adam nechnasim lahasev. When most people come in to recline.
that's Shabbos.
Here he doesn't say that. This is going to be a discussion in Rashi. Where exactly this is going to fit? Where Rabbi Chai fits. Okay. The Amrit. Let's go back. We had a question before. We were discussing if the ani and the kayan are at the same time, because we originally quoted a brisa that says when the poor man comes in to eat his bread, and we had the Mishnah says when the kayanim can eat the truma. We said, oh, don't worry about it. That's the same opinion. The problem is over here, if you say that the ani and the kayan is the same time, Rabbi Chanina says when the poor man comes in to eat his bread, Hainu Rabbi Yeshua, they can't be the same time. You quoted them as 2 different opinions. Rabbi Chanina's opinion, Rabbi Yeshua's opinion, they can't be the same. The ani lechod, the shiur the ani lechod, the shiur the kain lechod shmamina. They have to be that these are separate. Okay, these are separate. Now we have all of these different times over here. hanging around.
What was the Gemara's original assumption when it asked further up on the page? It said, how could the Mishnah and these Brachos be the same? Seeming two different things. Now we have a Brachos that seems that there's many different things.
Right. So maybe the issue was because this is a stam, and the Mishnah is a stam. Maybe that's the issue because the Gemara had no problem saying Seifa Vaday Kligiyamasis. We know this machlekes here. There was no issue. Question was, should we say that this machlekes that it's arguing on the Mishnah, on the Reisha of the Mishnah as well? Maybe that's the issue. Hi Minayo, that's two. Hi Minayo, you have the same style question by the way. Hi Minayo Mu'achad. Which one is the latest? Because we have all of these opinions here, 5 or 6 opinions. Which one is the latest? It says Mistabra the Ani Mu'achar. Probably the poor man is the latest. Here's our poor man. He's the latest in the day. He works overtime. The Iyamrit Ani Muktim, if we say that the poor man is earlier, so what would earlier be? Earlier would be before nightfall. That would be Rabbi Chanina, who's talking about the poor man, Hainu Rabbi Lezer. That would be, he would put him back into Bein Hashmashas. Rabbi Lezer said when it becomes Shabbos. It was our Shabbos. This is our Shabbos. And the mikveh is even earlier than that. Elalav Shmamina, we have to say the Ani Mu'achar, that the poor man is later. He works overtime, he comes in later. Okay. Shmamina. There's a few things that we need to discuss, but I want to learn further in the Gemara, and then we'll be able to go back. It'll be easier for us.
Yeah, that's what you said. Now we're saying that 4 minutes later.
The poor man now is the latest.
Less food and you prepare less.
Well, right.
It's the hardest. Right, it's the hardest.
I don't see how you can say the poor man's later because the shear of a work day
It's the same.
when it got bright enough to when it got too dark to work. That's the shear. If you don't specify the work day, the snake times. That was the shear of the work day. I guess I don't understand altogether the reason to bring in the work. Just for the Kohen to eat the truma was a mitzvah, right?
Yeah.
So he should do it as soon as time possible.
Well, we have that time set. That's eligible. The question is, when does the poor man comes in to eat his bread with salt?
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to say that he's going to come early because he doesn't have candles. Then we said that, well, he has nothing to prepare, so it could be a little later. So he comes in a little later. So there's some things that are fluctuating here. Amar Mar, the master taught, and now we're quoting a brisa. We say Amar Mar, we're quoting the brisa we just said. Amalei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says to Rabbi Meir, but the Kayanim, they go to the mikveh by day. What are you saying that the time for reciting the Shema is when the Kayanim go to the mikveh? They go to the mikveh by day. Shaper Kamalei Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda has a good point. Rabbi Meir didn't respond. If it's by day, it's not b'shachbacha. Rabbi Meir, what does Rabbi Meir say? Hachi Kamalei. This is what he's saying. Mi savr stana bein hashmashas tidach kamina. Do you think I'm referring to your bein hashmashas? Ana bein hashmashas to Rabbi Yosi kamina. I'm referring to Rabbi Yosi's bein hashmashas. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yosi argue about when bein hashmashas is. Rabbi Yehuda has an earlier bein hashmashas at an earlier time, and Rabbi Yosi has a bein hashmashas closer to Tzeisak Yechav, closer to the end. So Rabbi Yehuda asks Rabbi Meir with that they have to go to the mikveh before bein hashmashas. I know what time bein hashmashas is. It's earlier. They must be going before while it's still day. He asked Rabbi Meir, how could you go to the mikveh while it's? How could you go to the mikveh? How could you recite the Shema at the time that the Kainim are going to the mikveh? That's by day. Rabbi Meir responds, you're only asking me based on your own. It's self-referencing. It's your own. That's your own bein hashmashas. I hold by the later bein hashmashas. And over there, it's well after Shkia. It's already b'shachbacha. It's a time when people are laying down. The Amar Rav Yossi is Bein Hashmashos Karapayin. Rav Yossi, not only the position of when the Bein Hashmashos is, but it's also how long the Bein Hashmashos is also an issue.
So he says that the opponent got the mikvah so late. I don't understand the second opinion. According to that,
Yeah, he's saying that the Kohanim can go to the mikveh anytime before Bein Hashmashos, and that's already a time when it could be considered b'shachbacha, that they're laying down. The time of laying down is the time of reciting the Shema. It's keherifies like the blink of an eye. The time for Bein Hashmashos twilight is very quick. Those 10 things were created at the B, and Rav Yossi's been, according to Rav Yehuda, the Eibishter had more time to. Not like that's an issue, but okay. The Yavshalam and Lavi can't even pinpoint it. It's at the end. Okay. Let me mention what Tosfos asks over here in Amalei Rav Yehuda. We have a problem. Rav Yehuda holds that the time for Tfilas Mincha is until Plag HaMincha. Plag HaMincha is an hour and a quarter before Shkia, half of Mincha Ktana. Which means that you're allowed to daven Ma'ariv, according to Tosfos. You're allowed to daven Ma'ariv from after Plag HaMincha, which means you're allowed to say Shema an hour and a quarter before Shkia. Now listen to this conversation. Rabbi Yehuda holds you're allowed to say Shema before Shkia an hour and a quarter. He tells Reb Meir, the Kohanim, what are you saying? The Kohanim go to the mikveh before Bein Hashmashos. That's minutes before Shkia. How can they recite the Shema? So Tosfos says, Tikshulei lenafshei. Rabbi Yehuda, why don't you ask the question to yourself? You hold that you can recite the Shema much earlier. He says, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold of b'shachbacha referring to the time of laying down. It's only according to Reb Meir that he has that problem. He has a totally different definition of the Shachar, as we'll see. Okay, the Gemara now says, based on that, we'll go back to the first Tosfos to discuss something, but let's finish the Gemara. Kasha de Reb Meir de Reb Meir. There's a contradiction in the two brises. We're on top of Gimel. A contradiction between the two brises. One brisa said that Reb Meir holds when people come in to eat their bread on Friday night. And the other brisa said that it's the time of the Kohanim going to the mikveh before Bein Hashmashos. So when the people come in to eat their bread Friday night, that should be later. Everything was prepared and they come in later. And Bein Hashmashos, before Bein Hashmashos is earlier. So it's a different time. You can't say that those two definitions of time are the same time. It's not the same time. So the Gemara answers this when it's stuck. The Gemara will do this. We'll say Trei Tanai Alibud Reb Meir. Reb Meir had a student, and this student heard from his teacher this, and this student heard from his teacher that. And we're quoting it all in the name of Reb Meir, but it's the student saying in the name of Reb Meir. Okay.
What does that mean?
How does that resolve anything? It means that he might have taught something at this time like this, and he taught something like that.
Maybe change mind.
Could be. They all had different
They all
opinions.
learn from the same person.
It must be that they understood from Reb Meir saying different things, and they inferred from it. Kasha de Rabbi Eliezer ad Rabbi Eliezer. Now we have a question, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Eliezer. The Brisa tells us that Rabbi Eliezer holds Bein Hashmashos, Friday night, at the time Shabbos comes in. The Mishnah, the first statement was Rabbi Eliezer, was when the Kohanim eat their truma, which is Tzeisak Echavim. Not the time Shabbos comes in, that's earlier. Shabbos comes in earlier. My answer is straight Tanai Alibud Rabbi Eliezer. Straight Tanai Alibud Rabbi Eliezer. Viva Yesema. Another teretz, listen to this teretz. Reish Alav Rabbi Eliezer. The Mishnah is not Rabbi Eliezer. Take a look. When you go back to the Mishnah, it says, from when do you recite the Shema? Mishasha Kainim Nechnasan Echel B'Trumasan. From the time that the Kainim come to eat the Truma, Ad Seif HaShemar Rishen, until the end of the first watch. Divri Rabbi Eliezer, that's the word for Rabbi Eliezer. what's the word for Rebbe Lezer? Until the end of the first watch, or from the time the Kainim come into Yitir Truma. Yibayasema, the Gemara is saying, you divide this up. Rebbe Lezer never told us the first time, the earliest time to recite the Shema. The earliest time of reciting the Shema is what Rebbe Lezer says in the Brisa, which is from Bein Hashmashas.
Why wouldn't the Mishnah quote the opinion of who originally said it?
Okay. But I'll tell you in a second. Very good. And by the way, who's the opinion?
Huh?
Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua if you wanted to quote that, it would have said Rabbi Yeshua.
So the first 3 lines are broken up.
You have to put a period there. Mishosha kainim v'chlas nachal b'tzumasan period. Ad sefer shmur rishena div Rebbe Lezer. Ad, until when? That's Rebbe Lezer. That's the Ibayasema. Without the Ibayasema, you could say that it's all Rebbe. It's all the whole Mishnah is Rebbe Lezer. 2 ways of reading the Mishnah. I saw in a sefer. It's interesting. I saw it in a sefer on Yeridei on the Pri Megadim. Yeah, he says he started off saying that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi is Nitzitze Shel Yaakov Avinu. Nasi is Rosh Tevis Nitzitze Shel Yaakov Avinu. So Yaakov's firstborn is Reuven, but Reuven loses the Bechira, but it goes to Yehuda. But the truth is that Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkenes is a Gilgal of Reuven. So although in the Chumash Yehuda becomes the firstborn, but in the Mishnayos in the next Rabbi Danasi, Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkenes gets put first, and the gematria of Koichi Bereishis Aini is Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkenes. That's what I saw in the Sefer.
So these were not new Nishamas,
according to this, I mean. This is the Daf Yomi is not a Kabbalah shit. No. Okay. I said that we would go back to discuss the first Taisvis. So we have a few minutes here. We said that. Thank you. We said that Rashi's bothered with how is it possible that we're able to daven Ma'ariv while it's still day, when the Mishnah clearly says that it has to be Tzesek Echavim. We're reciting Shema before Tzesek Echavim. So Rashi answers that we're being Yotze Kriya Shema with Kriya Shema Shalamita. He says, so if so why are we reciting Shema at all in Shul? So he says, Kedei Lamed B'Tfila Mitoich Divrei Torah. And he quotes a Yerushalmi. We want to daven Ma'ariv through studying Torah, in Mitoich Divrei Torah. You don't just jump into davening. You study before davening. So what do you study? You recite the Shema. So, by the way, the Shema Yisrael is all Yaakov. Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Yaakov. So Tosfos is bothered by this. He has a bunch of questions. He says that Kriya Shema Shalamita, you only recite the first paragraph. You only have to recite the first paragraph. That's what people would say. And to be Yotze Kriya Shema, you have to recite all 3 paragraphs. Another problem is, what about the brachos? You're reciting the brachos of Shema on a Shema that's not really Kriya Shema. And the Gemara tells us that Kriya Shema Shalamita is a protection. It says that if he's a Talmud Chacham, he doesn't need the protection, he doesn't need to recite it. What's going on over here? He wasn't Yotze Shema. So Tosfos has, then he has another question, that there's a machlekes if you say, if you have to be Seimach Gula L'Tfila, we say, Gal Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, Gal Yisrael, and Shemona Esrei are supposed to go together. There's a machlekes if you have to do that by night as well. You notice.
That's what the Hashkivenu is.
Exactly. The Gemara is going to discuss Hashkivenu, but Baruch Hashem, L'Elam, Amen,
it's not as important.
It's not as important, and there's a machlekes if you have to do it. And there's an opinion that we're going to quote later that says that you actually recite Shemona Esrei and you recite the Shema afterwards. You don't need to have those brachas beforehand. The Shema comes before. Now, we don't go like that opinion. However, according to Rashi, we do go like that opinion because we're reciting the Shemona Esrei, and the Shema comes afterwards
Oh, yeah.
because the Kriya Shema Shalamita.
So
And the brachas are before. That's his other problem. The brachas are before, but we're saying that according to that opinion that says that you recite the Shema after Shemona Esrei, that's Rashi seems to be saying that, and that's not the halach. Okay, so therefore Rabbeinu Tam says that we're being Yitzchak Kriya Shema in Shul even though it's still day, and we're following the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. And we waited till the end to learn this. Rabbi Yehuda holds that the time for Mincha is until Plaga Mincha. And therefore the time for Ma'ariv starts right after that. And you're able to recite the Shema earlier, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Then he has the Shita of the Ri that says that it's not the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda that we're relying on. It's actually some of these opinions here that gave us earlier times. It says that it could be we had earlier times for Shema, and that's what we're relying on when we do this, when we say this. Now, the Daf Yomi is not a halacha shir, but there is a machlekes about if you have a minyan now, and you don't have the minyan later, and the minyan's davening earlier, which one comes first? Tzibur comes first, or the Zmana comes first. That's machlekes. Okay, let's leave it over here.
Well, we have another half an hour. Rabbi, half an hour. 8 o'clock.
No, I want to leave it.
So basically,
1 minute, everybody, before you get up, before everybody gets up.
Yeah, I'll tell you about this one.
Everybody, have your attention 1 minute. We want to give our cars the toll real quick.
Wait. Back up. Hold on.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Wait, that was the camera instead of the thing. Okay, 1,
so
2, 3.
Okay, so.
Go!
Our Akarsa Tov to our fearless leader, Captain Yitzi. It's been about over 18 months that he thought of, let's have a Daf Yomi in Beis Menachem at 5:30. Had a lot of doubters, but as you see, we have, I think, our biggest turnout ever today. Hashem.
We'll see you back in 7 years.
It wouldn't have happened without Yitzi. He was working for
Oh my God. 7 years.
Sign.